Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, pretty much I've been waiting to do a video for a very long time, about like 2 years or something, just to talk about something that I go through as a person and as a woman, and that I know that a lot of people go through out there, but it's just something that's really misunderstood and nobody really understands it. And it's just, with the movies and everything like that, it's just portrayed as something just completely negative and bad and evil and things like that. And I just want to change the stigmatism on it, and I want to raise awareness and just let everybody know that it's not exactly what it is. Yeah, there's negative parts and aspects of it, and yeah, there's very scary things that we go through, people such as myself, but there's many of us that are positive and many of us can handle it. And pretty much I'm just one of those persons that's here to show my story and how I live with schizophrenia. Pretty much I believe that living with schizophrenia, dealing with it, managing with it is different than being an actual schizophrenic. Keep up with my posts if you want to get more into that, or maybe watch a few YouTube videos of to get educated on schizophrenia first, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from. People who are schizophrenic, they may not have a sense of what is really real and what is not, like a reality. They may be completely delusional, they may be just completely out of their mind, and they're just out of it. Like, they have no sense of what's going on around them. You understand? They're completely focused on what's going on in their mind. So pretty much they just may not notice what they're doing, and there's a lot of people that are still out there living their life normally and everything like that. They go through schizophrenia that that people don't know about it, but then there are other people that you can actually notice, like, okay, yeah, they're going through something, like, oh, okay, this person sees something, or this person hears something, or just things like that. Because I remember myself too, when I was young, and I was working in the mall at Burger King. I remember this woman that she came up to me and she was ordering. I was taking her order, and she was just completely like a little bit out of it while she was talking to me. I was trying to explain something to her, but it was just like everything I was saying was like, no, it was her way. It was whatever was in her head, and she was literally having like a conversation with herself. She also like really smelled and everything like that. So that's kind of my first experience of really seeing someone with schizophrenia. Yeah, and she just kind of smelled and things like that. And she was just like isolated herself from everybody. She went and she sat alone and she ate and everything like that. Like, to me, it was just I was in shock that she was actually even alone. Like, how can somebody not have someone walking with them or supporting them or helping them, and she was just really alone. So God bless her. I hope that she's fine out there. And yeah, I just hope that she's alive and well and doing safe. But yeah, so the difference is people that have schizophrenic and the people that's living with schizophrenia is, we know the difference. We know what we're going through. We know that we know that we hear things. We know that we see things. We know that this and that. Well, I don't see anything, but I do hear. We know that, what we're going through, it may sound crazy. We know that it's weird. It's beyond unique. It's, it's extraordinary. It's everything like that. We know it. We know it's scary. We know all of that stuff, but we deal with it. I'm going to stop saying we, and I'm going to say I, because I don't know many people who have schizophrenia. I know a few people from the Bronx that I have spoken to that are friends of mine that, they tell me little things that they go through and stories here and there that I can be like, oh yeah, that may be, something that was schizophrenia, this and that, because I know what I go through. So, I like to talk to people and I like to give my opinion, and I just love hearing people's stories. Like, if anybody has a story and want to talk to me about it, or just have any experience out there and you just want to let me know about it, and just please let me know, because I love to hear it. I love to open my mind, and I love to just educate myself on a lot of different things. So yeah, like I was saying, living with schizophrenia is different than actually being considered a schizophrenic. And that's something that I want to really push out there, because my doctors and everything, pretty much I'm diagnosed with schizophrenia. I've been diagnosed pretty much for about a year now, and I think it's not a misdiagnosis, honestly, because I do actually have hear voices and things like that, but it is, a little bit like different. Like, it put me in a whole depression being diagnosed, as schizophrenic, because it's just like I don't believe that, I'm categorized as that. I wanted to categorize myself as a spiritual being, someone who is powerful, who can vibe with spirits, who can, I don't know if they're spirits or what it is that I'm actually hearing, but just someone who is very spiritual and very aware and, aware of the universe and life and the energies and, everything that's beautiful around. And I feel like that's why I have this gift. I look at it as a gift. So, another thing about having schizophrenia and living with mental illness is all about the way that you think. It's all about your mindset. It's all about your knowledge and just you as a being. You have to know yourself as a person. If you don't know yourself, then I don't know. Like, it's just gonna be really, really hard for you to manage life dealing with schizophrenia if you don't know yourself, your soul, and yourself as a being and and a human and as a God's child. So, yeah, pretty much. So me, what I deal with is I hear voices. Um, I don't hear them all day long. I don't hear them every day, every day, every day. But when when I don't take my medication at all, well, when I wasn't taking my medication at all, I was hearing them every day, every day, every day, nonstop, morning to night. As soon as I popped open my eyes to when I closed them at night to when I was praying, like, please God, just give me some silence, some silence, some silence. Like, that's just all I wanted. Like, it was for a whole year that I would just pray to God for silence. You understand? Like, that's just what it was. It wasn't that something was telling me, oh, do this or do that or harm yourself or hurt this person or this and that or da 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 da, or it's nothing telling me to become somebody or to do something or anything like that. It's just like, it's like regular people watching me, like keeping an eye on me, monitoring me, making sure that, I'm good, making sure, just watching me and having their opinions and everything like that on it. So, it can be very annoying. Um, annoying. So, yeah, that's just, and it's not that I was going crazy or anything like that because the voices, were taking over or driving me crazy or anything like that. It's not about that. It was about the fact that I just needed a peace of mind. I just needed a moment of silence. You understand? Like, people don't really understand what a moment of silence is. Like, I really needed it, just a moment. And it was just for a whole maybe a year and a half that I was listening to it straight. At first I went to a doctor. When I all right, so at first this started to happening to me at 19 years old. Okay, so I'm 27 now. When I was 19 years old, I got with my son's father. We was having issues and things like that. I was having issues with his ex, whatever the case may be. And I started feeling a little paranoid because we were having altercations, and I just started feeling like paranoid, like if, just like watching my back everywhere, thinking, that she was gonna jump me, or that people were gonna jump me or something while I was on my way to work or anything like that. So that's kind of where everything started at from the beginning. So I would just kind of watch my back everywhere I go. And then sometimes I remember when it first started that I was actually sitting on the bus when I first heard something ever, that I was sitting on a bus and it was just a normal bus ride. I was on my way to work, and I was just hearing something, just like it's watching me, like if it was talking about me, like if it was someone on the bus. So I'm looking around and I'm wondering, like, who? Maybe they know her, maybe they're watching me, maybe they're stalking me, so it started in that way. I started just looking around to see, like, maybe somebody's watching me or stalking me. So that's kind of where everything started with, and that's why it's called paranoid schizophrenia, and that's what I heard of. Like, when you're thinking you're hearing stuff and you're just looking around and you're just wondering. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out everything and this and that, because I have to literally be my own therapist and psychiatrist, because these therapists, they know what they're doing a little bit, but then again, they don't. Like, they give me these young people that they just went to college and they just read everything out the book. So from there, that's it. They think they know it all. Because I had, not to sound disrespectful or whatever, but I had a therapist of mine, which is why I really don't like to go and talk to her. But she kind of mentioned, she just said a little stupid comment, like, to me, like, oh, why don't you think they're you, or something like that? Like, so why aren't they you? If you say if you say that it's a gift, why isn't it your voice? Like, why isn't these things that you're hearing you? And I was just like, because they're not, because I hear a male voice in my head and I hear female voices and they're having conversations and it's not me. I know my own voice, I know my own self, I know my own soul, my own being. Like, how can someone who's a therapist say that to me? You understand? And then that got me thinking about all these other people who literally hear voices and things like that and actually let the voice become them, or people who have multiple personalities and things like that. And that gets me started to thinking, like, whoa, like maybe they've been to a therapist who manipulated their mind and actually made them think that the voices were them. You understand? So it's just weird. You understand? I like watching people's stories and things like that, but it's just like I would never let it get to that point, honestly, ever, to let anything control me. I know my soul, I know myself, I know my voice. If anything, the voices love me because they want me to be myself, love me, but it's like a love-hate relationship that we have. But yeah, pretty much, I've been called Miss America, by the voices. I don't know for what reason. Maybe it's because, the way that I love life and I love the earth and I love everything around it. Like, I'd rather be called Miss Universe, but okay, they said Miss America because I live in America, but pretty much it's just something that's weird to explain. You understand? Like, I don't believe that voices are just hallucination, that it's just a voice and it's just, oh, I'm hallucinating, and I'm making it up and I'm hearing things all day, because it doesn't make sense. It's not fair to make somebody feel like that and make them think that they're hallucinating and they're lying about something that they're actually going through. And this is something that the doctors and the psychiatrists and everybody does. And it's hard. And that's why people with schizophrenia, we're not evolving. I think that's why, schizophrenia, it's not getting the attention and awareness that it deserves. Because it's just viewed as negative, everything that's in those books. Like, no, the doctors, to me, honestly, they haven't even listened to my experiences or what I go through or what I told them that I went through recently. They're just like, oh, you're hearing stuff, that's it, no, you have to sit there and you have to listen to a person and you have to try to understand what they're saying and what they're going through and what they're experiencing, and then you can actually sit back and take it into context and be like, oh wow, like, maybe, because not for nothing, there are real people out there who have power, who do miracles, who are healers, who are, spiritual beings, who are, who represent God and who do good in the world and things like that, and maybe a lot of those people are schizophrenics and are schizophrenic, and they pretty much just have this, they, instead of putting it into a negative aspect, they switched it into a whole positive aspect. And that's where God comes around, and that's where life and positivity and everything that's good comes into play. Like, you have to be positive. Like, I went through depression too, honestly, and I'll get into that in a bit. But depression and schizophrenia is real. Depression is real. Depression is really, really bad. If anything, I would like to say that depression is worse than schizophrenia in a way, or maybe both of them together are worse, but I don't know. Like, I know anxiety is bad in itself. You understand? So imagine having anxiety, schizophrenia, and depression. Yeah, that was really bad. That was really bad for me. I don't ever want to feel that feeling again. I'm glad that I'm, a little bit out of it, that I'm finally getting back to myself. I want to, live life and show the world who I am as a person again. Pretty much last year, I was going through my experience and I was hearing things for a whole year. It wasn't on medication, anything like that. I was working in a Target warehouse. I was working 12-hour shifts, actually. So, and then I was coming home, taking care of my son. So I was a bit drained, and that was the thing with, with that was happening to me at the moment was that I was just drained. It wasn't that the schizophrenia was taking over or I was going crazy or anything like that. No, my soul, my body was drained. I was working 12-hour shifts, and I was, just taking care of everything and doing everything, and it was just, a little bit too much for me. I wasn't sleeping well, and that's something that you have to monitor and, work with when you have schizophrenia. You have to make sure that you sleep well, that you eat well. You just pretty much a woman in general, you have to just take care of your body. Like, so just to raise awareness of why I was hospitalized last year, pretty much this was 2008. This was a little bit over a year ago. It was like 2018. I believe it was around like around October-ish time. So a lot of things was happening, guys. Junior, rest in peace. I don't know if you guys know, but in the Bronx, New York, a boy named Junior was murdered with a machete by a bunch of guys, and by a bunch of guys in the Bronx. So that hit home for the whole world. Like, everybody was touched, everybody's hearts was touched, everything like that. So especially mine, I'm from the Bronx, you understand? So that's just like, when I heard about that, my soul just broke, you understand? Like, that could have been anybody's child. That could have been my child, that could have been, let me not get emotional. So, like, the whole world was just dealing with that, and that was just a big pain, and, they were finding his murderers and everything like that, and they were trying to find the woman who set him up, and, like, it was just a whole bunch of chaos that was happening at that time that, and that really touched my soul, and I was just in a depression about that, as well as, I was living in Amsterdam, New York, and as well as at that time, there was I think it was a prom, like a limousine that had like 20 students in it, and they were on their way to prom, and it happened to crash, and they, like 20 students had died. So pretty much at that moment, I remember that I was just at work. It was a Monday. This was my last day that I worked. I was at work, and I didn't really eat much that day, honestly, and this and that, and I was a little tired, but I was doing a 12-hour shift, and I was at work, and they stopped the whole working session to mention, so pretty much they called us into like a group meeting, and they made us aware of what happened with the 20 kids and things, with the 20 high school students, things like that. And they told us, that if anybody needed a moment or anything like that they understand, that you can take some time and to go home and things like that. And at that moment, it didn't really hit me because I didn't really know any of them. I was new to Amsterdam and things like that. But then I swear to God, like in 1 second later, my soul just crushed because I started thinking about that there's 20 kids that's gone. There's 20 parents that's in agony, that's sad because they lost their kids. There's 20 cousins, uncles, there's 20 families out there that are broken because of what happened, you understand? And that's the way I think, and that's what and that's what pretty much hurt my soul, and what had me, pretty much in my, getting a little overwhelmed and a little stressed, during during the process, because honestly, me hearing voices, it wasn't bothering me. It wasn't doing anything. If anything, it was just, I had to be an actor, like I have to go to work, and I have to go here, and I have to go there, and I have to pretend that I'm not hearing anything and just be normal, and just do, and just focus and do what I gotta do, so that was that's a little bit complicated, and that's why I'm not rushing to get back to work right now, because that's that's something that's kind of pretty annoying. But, it was something that I was able to do. I was handling it. I was doing what I had to do. What really took, me over, and what really got me emotional, and what really kind of broke me down, was my cousin. My cousin Amanda, pretty much her son's father. She has 3 kids, and rest his soul. Her son's father, last year around that same time, maybe, was murdered and shot in the head, and he didn't survive, and he didn't live, and he was he just didn't make it, and it was just, he was put on the life support for a while and things like that, and it just didn't work, and he couldn't survive, and so things like that. And we was just going around, and my cousin was just going crazy because she has her, well, not going crazy, but she was just so stressed. I personally could feel that she was so stressed out and so overwhelmed, and like I could just feel her sadness and her pain and everything like that. And I was just thinking, I was upstate, so I couldn't go to her. I couldn't give her a hug. I couldn't do anything like that. I couldn't even attend the funeral. I couldn't do anything. So it was just, like I was just feeling really emotional and really devastated at the fact that I wasn't able to be there for her. Like, um, it's more scary, when I actually get into details about experiences and things like that and stuff like that. But I don't want people to be scared of schizophrenia. That's the thing. I want people to figure out what's going on there in their mind and in their lives and why this is happening. You understand? There are a lot of people out there who do evil. There are a lot of people who hurt people. There are a lot of people who, just live life to cause hell. You understand? And it's unfortunate that we got to deal with that and we got to live with that. But it's not because of schizophrenia. It's because of something that is deep within the own person itself. You understand? It's the person itself. So what I wanted to say is pretty much, I'm sorry. Okay, so that, those are just some of the reasons why I was, why everything was just so, so extra last year for me, because it was just a lot of things going on, a lot of things touching me spiritually, and, just really, just really sad stuff that was happening. Also, what's the little girl's name? Luz Maria, that, that they ran over her with the car outside of the laundromat. You understand? Like it's just things like that that hurt my soul and that crushed me last year, that was really had me, like really had me speaking my mind and really had me in tune with myself and really powerful, that I wanted to be an advocate and I wanted to speak my mind and things like that. So that's the only thing that was happening with me, is I was speaking my mind a lot more. I was a little bit more energetic. I was a little bit more vocal. That's the thing. So that's why people thought I was acting weird. No, I was, I'm being myself. I wanted to, speak my mind about topics. So pretty much what happened was that I was just so overwhelmed, with the job and just with everything, and then just hearing voices day and night, things like that. So I was just so overwhelmed. And also the fact that my grandmother was hospitalized. My grandmother, a lot of people don't know this, even in my family, a lot of people don't know this. My grandma has schizophrenia. My grandma lives, right now she's in the hospital, um, you know, being taken care of by nurses and things like that. But my grandma, she's been having schizophrenia for years. She's just got hospitalized, a little while ago in the nursing home. But she was living with schizophrenia for years in her own home. She's hearing voices. She said she also see like her dead husband and things like that, like my grandfather and stuff like that. She's been saying stuff like that for years, and the family just kind of like, oh yeah, like they don't ignore it, but they don't acknowledge it. They just like whatever. So now it's a little different, because now my grandmother, now so now it's a little different actually. Now my grandmother really pretty much we have a lawsuit going that's pending, that's going on from my grandmother, because for malpractice with the nurses, what they did to her. Pretty much they amputated her leg off. She was in the hospital for a few months for a gallbladder infection, and pretty much the nurses didn't take care of her. They left her in the wheelchair all the time, in the bed all the time. They made her get sores, her legs get sores. So little by little in her legs, she caught gangrene. From there, they wrapped it up. They didn't let nobody know about it. My grandmother would complain for months and months and months about that her leg is hurting and this and that. And, I guess since she hears things and she talks to herself and stuff like that, they probably was like, oh, yeah, she's just saying that, this and that. And, they just kind of ignored her and just gave her like pain medication and Tylenol and things like that. And so little by little, it turns out when my family actually happened to unwrap it and look at it, that it was a hole in her leg, and pretty much what she had, and pretty much what they had to do is they had to remove her leg. They amputated her leg off. So and that was their fault. That was their fault for making her catch gangrene in her leg. My grandmother went in there healthy. She was fine. Pretty much she was schizophrenic and hearing voices and things like that, but she wasn't crippled. She wasn't, like handicapped. She wasn't things like that. She was fine. She was walking. She was aware. She was everything. She was good. Now, if you go to the hospital, you just see my grandmother laying in a bed all day, all day, all day, just pretty much talking to herself and stuff like that. And it's horrible. And like that's just something that my family has to live with, and we should have fought for her a lot more and things like that. And that's something that I feel like, that I regret, because I feel like I wasn't there. But like I said, I was going through my own things at the time. I was upstate. I was going through my own things. I was in and out of the hospitals for many different reasons. And, that's just what it was. So, pretty much when I was living upstate, it was just getting overwhelming for me. So I decided to, my cousin lived actually like, not too far away, maybe like an hour away. So, and she was having a baby. And and my uncle just passed away, which is her father. So I felt like, what I needed at the time, what more importantly was to be around family that I cared about, who loved me, things like that. My son's father was a little bit stressing me out in his family. So it was, that's just something that I needed to do, was to get away and to be around my family again. So they ended up driving me to my family's house. It was a lot of other stuff that happened in between that, but I'm not even gonna mention it because it was, it's just too much stuff. I feel like there was certain things that people were doing to try to make me, feel crazy and things like that. So that's just something that it was like. For instance, my clothes and my belongings when I moved, all my stuff was rearranged everywhere. My clothes, like the stuff that was in this bag, like my underwears and panties and things like that, I was very organized. I had all my stuff organized. Like that was mixed up in this bag, that was over here, this was over here. Like my documents and stuff like that, like all my important papers and everything was missing. My birth certificate, my social, my son's birth certificate, socials, important documents, court papers from leases, old leases that I had, and things like that. A lot of that stuff went missing. So it's just stuff that triggered me to make me more stressed out, which triggered my anxiety even more, and which made it really look like I was, just that made that just really made it look like I was like, bugging out and things like that. But I like just really made it look like I was really, really, really super stressed and, everything like that, which I was. Um, my papers going missing put me in a whole different state of mind. You understand? Like, at first, I was more worried about what's going on with my family in New York, what's going on with everybody everywhere, that, that I'm just lonely and I'm missing everybody and I want to be around people. But then it turned out that I'm just worrying about where's my papers, who took my stuff, where are my stuff. Those are very important stuff. Like, like it kind of scared me because it got me thinking like, oh, why did someone take my papers? Are they trying to sell me? Are they trying to kill me? Or, who knows what anybody would try to do? Why would anyone steal anybody's identity and things like that? You understand? So that's just something that made me even more fearful. So yeah, so anyways, so like I said, I got dropped off to my cousin's house with my belongings. All my stuff was scrambled everywhere. It was pretty much really making me crazy. Like, like my focus was already kind of gone. I was already too tired. I was already too drained. I needed medication. I was aware of that. I needed my medication. I take actually Risperdal. Um, but at that time I wasn't on anything. So, I was just solely, just had control of my own self, just feeling everything that was happening around me. And then with when I like I said, when I got to my cousin's house, the situation wasn't so great. It was I didn't have any money, I didn't have any anything, any food, anything. My food stamp card was gone, my bank card was gone, all my stuff was gone. They had like literally everything of my stuff, so I couldn't do anything. And that was really hard for me, just not having my papers and things like that, because me, as I'm somebody who I've been moving around, a lot. So I was prepared that if I ever needed to move, okay, I have my documents and stuff like that, so I can get a job, so I can do this, I can do that. But unfortunately, when they had my stuff, I couldn't do anything. Even when I went to the doctor and I was prescribed my medication, when I got out the hospital, I couldn't get my medication because I didn't have my ID or anything like that, and they had all my belongings. So that's something that really had me in a really stressful situation. So you have to be careful who you surround yourself with and who you are around, and if you have real supportive people around you, because there are other people that will literally make you crazy, you understand, and do things to make you feel crazy and make you seem crazy. And like, you just can't trust everybody, and those are the type of people that I had around me, you understand. And that's why my experience was not so good. So at this time, I was like, really, really more stressed out, and I was living in my cousin's house, and I understand that, it was more stressful on her as well because she had a baby, and then she had to probably deal with me and my, and my issues and things like that, with my papers getting stolen and stuff like that, and, and things like that. So it was stressful on everybody's part. But the fact that I didn't have a support system is really what made everything kind of worse, you understand. I had to be my own support system. I had people pretty much judging me without telling me anything, like without calling me or asking me what's going on, or just checking in on me or anything like that. I like everybody was just talking about me, like the whole family, and it was just like it just made me really mad and angry, because why can't you hit me up? Why are you going by what this person said or what this person said when I'm Jessica? And if you want to speak to me, speak to me. So just overall being in someone's house that I had to rely on them, because I didn't have my money or anything. I had to rely on them about when to cook and when to this. Like, that made me really stressed out. So I really, like, just wanted to leave and and just go back to my house and things like that. But my son's father didn't want to let me go back home. They were just like, no, you already left, and I'm like, no, that's my home. I've been there for all of this time. So it was a whole issue that they did. They took me out of my home and everything. So it just had me really stressed, and I was pretty much homeless and things like that, staying in my cousin's house. And she pretty much, my family would send her money for me because I didn't have any money, and she used it and bought whatever she wanted, her drugs or her food or stuff for her kids or whatever the hell it is that she wanted to buy. She used the money that was sent from me to get back home. She used that for whatever she wanted, and that was really messed up of her. Like, she manipulated the whole situation. So I didn't even know that she had did that to me. I wasn't aware that she had spent the money or anything like that. Like, I kept asking her about it, and she would just keep telling me, "Oh, it's coming, this and that. Oh, wait, this person's gonna go get it when it comes, this and that. Oh, just wait, I'll let you know, da da da." So I was just being lied to and just disrespected, and things like that. When I'm not stupid, I'm not a stupid person. Don't do that to me. So they thought that, oh, Jessica's hearing things, she's out of her mind, she's this, she's that. No, Jessica is perfectly fine. You guys are nuts. You guys are disrespectful. You guys manipulate people. You guys rob people. Like, it's like, it's literally something that's nuts within people. Like, how can you rob your cousin who you watched grew up, who looks up to you as a mother figure, you understand, who loves you unconditionally, who loves your kids, who everything like that? How can you rob me, and how can you take stuff from me and make me feel like I'm the bad person because I don't give? You understand? So that's just what I was doing. Yeah, and then it was also another weird stuff that was happening in my cousin's house that was like, I just didn't want to be there anymore. You know, um just a lot of weird stuff. My cousin is kind of like superstitious and stuff. She has this whole little section that has like all this God stuff and everything like that, which I don't mind. I have a strong belief in God and everything like that. But when you're somebody who has a strong belief in God, but then again, you're so manipulative and you're so grimy and so evil and so disgusting, then it's like, what's the point? Like, why? How? Like, it's like, why? How can you believe in something so beautiful and things like that when you're like this? You understand? So that's just something I was dealing with when I was around people who are toxic. You understand? um so yeah, so I wanted to leave and I couldn't leave because she spent my money. Whatever, fine, I couldn't leave. Pretty much what that kind of just triggered. So so pretty much I just wanted to leave and everything like that, and I couldn't, and I had to stay there and stuff like that. So I kind of just try to stay there and make the best of it, and just take every day at a time and see what I was gonna do. I was just gonna try to get back to work, get my son back in school, just start over again. I was just really tired of starting over. So, but I knew I had to do it again. Pretty much what was going on was that I would have to wake up every morning at like 6 in the morning to try to wake my cousins up for school and things like that, because my cousin wouldn't get up, so she wouldn't wake them up. But whatever, I was in the room with them, so I would wake them up. It started being to the point that I couldn't really sleep, that I was just up all night, and I was hearing things in I was hearing thoughts, but it started changing. It wasn't like them just watching me and monitoring me, wanting to see what I was doing. It was more of me being able to feel someone's presence and someone else's vibe, and feel what someone else is doing or what someone else is thinking, so it, like, everything kind of started changing up. So I remember, so I'm gonna just tell you this one experience. I remember this one time, it was maybe like 5 in the morning and I'm trying to sleep, or maybe like 3 in the morning, and I was trying to sleep and stuff, but I couldn't really sleep, and I was feeling like this sadness. I was feeling this sadness, this presence, this sadness, and it was a boy, and I was feeling his sadness, and he was pretty much just like home, but so sad. And it was like because his mom molest him, and he's like 14 years old already. He's kind of like a grown boy. So I was feeling his presence and his vibe, and it was and I was feeling the mom's presence and her vibe too. Pretty much she was like on coke, or she was like drunk. So she was like, like, I don't know if it was coke or whatever it was that she was doing. I think so. But so pretty much I felt all of that vibe, and what I had to do was sit there and talk to her about stop molesting her son, stop doing the drugs, stop making him sell. Or pretty much he was 14 years old and he was in high school, and she was, he was going to high school and he was selling drugs. I don't know where it was at. I think it was actually in the Bronx. Like, I connected with this person and I felt like there was somebody in the Bronx. It was somebody in the Bronx. But anyways, I don't know names and stuff like that. But so pretty much I feel like, so she was sending the boy to school to sell drugs and this and that and things like that. Oh, and also that they were pretending to, like, she would pretend to be the boy's cousin. So the boy would bring girls home from school and stuff like that to the house to, to maybe have sex with them or something like that. Something like that. And then she would pretend to be the cousin so that she can, join in and stuff like that. And, who knows. But that was just stuff that I was going through. That was stuff that the boy was explaining to me. And also, so then it got to a point where I was speaking to her, like, like, it felt like, the way that I live, that I can hear voices, it felt like I was the voice, and I was someone else's voice, and I was helping them, and I was that boy's voice, and I was that woman's voice, because for some reason she kept saying that she couldn't stop, she couldn't control it, it was an impulse, her touching her son, this and that it was just something that she'd been doing forever since he was a baby boy, that that she doesn't see anything wrong with it. Incest does exist. There's things like that does exist that we're not aware about. To a lot of us is like whatever, but to some people is, and it's pretty sick and stuff like that. But that's exactly what it is. It's a sickness. People, can't control themselves, and they urge and whatever it is, and they just. I don't know. I don't have even no comment on that. I don't understand, but it's just like that's what I was going through, and I literally had to sit there and talk to this woman and explain to her that you can't keep touching your son, this and that. The son even ran in the bathroom, and he was locked himself in the bathroom. And that's just stuff that I was going through at that time. I felt that presence of that woman and her son, so I was just trying to help and see, talk her into maybe going to get some help, maybe going to speak to a therapist or something like that. And she was scared because she said she's going to go to jail for the drugs and this and that. And I'm like, it's not about the drugs, it's about you hurting your son. It's about that your boy is sad. He's 14 years old now. He's not a little boy who can't speak anymore. Now he's 14, he's grown, he's going to want to have his own girlfriend, his own wife, his own everything like that. So yeah, I pretty much had to, be her psychiatrist and stuff like that for, like, I don't know what was going on, guys, honestly, but I had to do what I had to do. Like, when stuff happens, you have to do what you think is best. You can't just be like, oh my God, this is crazy, and be scared. No, you have to just do what you think is best, and be yourself, and that's just what it is. And that's probably why I got this gift and I got the power and I got this power, but it's viewed as a schizophrenia because it is more scary to people. People don't understand. But I think it is something more deeper that I have to figure out, and that we as a society and as humans that we need to figure out, because we're powerful, we're very strong. We have, there's a million things in this world beyond our belief, and if I can sit here and hear voices, then I know that there's a million other things that are, real and amazing. And so, okay. So this is another thing that really triggered me and put me in the hospital last year, kind of. And also my hospitalizations was false. I was, I could have sued the hospitals and stuff like that, but I just kind of left it alone. I'm trying to be at peace and stuff like that. Well, pretty much when I was going through at that time in my cousin's house, my cousin already had an ACS case, so she kind of manipulated the situation and told she didn't really want me to stay there anymore. So, she was calling the cops on me and this and that. So they took me to the hospital and stuff like that. But she was calling my son's father and she was telling him to pick up my son who was in her house, or else that they were going to take him away from me, which is a lie. She had an ACS case herself. They were going to take her kids away from her, and that was the issue there. So that's why I didn't want to be in her home, because, when you have a kid and you go to someone's home who has an ACS case, they kind of want to monitor. Yeah, so they want to monitor you and, and make sure that your kid is good and everything like that. So I just wanted to leave. I wanted to go back to my house, live my life, get back to work, like I was just over it. I was just stressed out. I was in my cousin's house for maybe about a month. And then, so what happened was she didn't want me to stay there. So I ended up staying with my cousin and his girlfriend and her family for one night. And when I was there in her home, pretty much I went through it. I was going through my experience, regular, hearing stuff, da da da. But then I started talking about how there are, how you can tell someone is a murderer, or that someone is evil, or that, if someone, or if some, like, with schizophrenia, how they say, oh, the voices made me do it, this and that, da da da. Like, that you could pretty much tell that like you can pretty much tell by people's expressions and things like that, if they're telling the truth or not, or that if like it, or something like that. If you ever seen that show, I don't know, I seen a show called Lie to Me. It was on Netflix before, and they showed it to me in my science class, and well, forensics class, pretty much. And it just showed people's expressions. You can tell when someone's lying, or if they're real about it, or if they're sincerely sorry or apologetic or whatever it is. And at that moment, when I was thinking about that, I started feeling this presence, and it was like a weird presence, like a quiet presence, like someone's hearing me, but they don't want to speak and make themselves known. Like a weird, evil kind of presence. Like a sad presence. So pretty much I started feeling that, and I started feeling like it was that boy who killed a boy. I started feeling like it was that boy who killed the boy Matthew in the school in the Bronx. Pretty much stabbed him in the classroom and things like that in one of the school in the Bronx. So while I was feeling that, I was feeling his presence and this and that, and it was just he was listening to me, things like that. And it was like I started feeling a presence, like if he was thinking of, like I was just speaking about how I think, that he really meant to kill him on purpose, this and that. But just by his expressing, like that there's some people out there who are like that, that I was started saying that I don't think it was, like a self-defense, the way they making it seem, that I think it was, no, there's something deep within him that he wanted to do that, that is something that he felt that he wanted to do. And I was feeling that really powerful, and his feeling, his vibe and everything was like if he knew, like, like, yeah, like she's right, and but it wasn't, no one was speaking, it was just that feeling, like, like that, like, like oh my gosh, and that's the feeling that I was getting, that was the vibe I was getting, and things like that. So I started being scared, because I started feeling the parents' expression too and things like that. But I don't know, so I just started getting scared, like, because like whatever voices I hear, they know my name, they know They kind of knew some of my addresses, wherever I was at and stuff like that. But it was a point that I didn't want to even know where I was at this point, because I didn't want anybody who I was connecting with to know where I was at, you know. So at that time, I was just got a little paranoid because I felt like, that the boy had like maybe wrote my name down on the. So then, while as that was happening, my son was sleeping, everything like that. I just went to him, I gave him a kiss, this and that, and then I called my cousin over, and I told him, I was like, oh, like, do you hear that? And he said no, he didn't hear anything. And I started explaining to him, like, oh, I think that I connected with this boy, and that did this and that, da da da. And I'm a little scared, and I want to go to the hospital because I don't feel safe, like, if someone's knows where I'm at. Like, I felt like somebody knew where I was at. Like, I felt he knew where I was at that moment. But now that I think about it, nobody could do anything to me, you understand? But at that moment, I was just like, oh, hey, I don't want to share my address because I'm working here, I'm doing something powerful, but not a lot of people are gonna like it. So from there, I just didn't want to know my address. So I went to the hospital, and I was in the hospital for a while. And even in the hospital, like I said, I was connecting with other people. I was connecting with a lady. Yeah, it was someone in the army. That it was a woman. I don't know her name or anything like that, but it was a woman in the army that she killed I think another woman in the army, but then made it seem like the woman died of, I don't know, maybe a natural cause or something. I don't know, but made it seem like the woman died for another reason, maybe an accident or something like that, and then she actually did literally kill her. So, and then it was people in the army who, or FBI or something, who was taking that woman that was in the army away for questioning or something like that, because they felt like she was dangerous because she's in the army, but she's dangerous, like she's not protecting, she's hurting people, stuff like that. So I do feel like I have a gift in a way. I'm still figuring it out. I haven't had anyone come to me and tell me like, oh, I hear you, or I feel you, or this and that, something like that, because that would really scare me. That would freak me out. That would really freak me out. But it's just something that it's just experiences and things that I went through. I, like I said, schizophrenia to me is not the best thing in the world. Is not the worst thing in the world. There's actually people who are missing legs and who are missing arms, or who have like diseases and things like that. And and to me, that's really horrible and things like that. And people with schizophrenia, I mean, everybody's illness is is something. Illness is an illness. Is who's to say who's a greater illness than the other one? Everything is still has its negative and positives. But like I said, when you're dealing with schizophrenia, you have to be positive. You have to look at it on a positive outlook. And it's just all about you and your soul and the way and who you are as a person. You know yourself. So me personally, I want to be someone who helps people. So one thing I'm not gonna do is go through living through life every day, just worrying about how can I get rid of these voices. How can I get rid of him? How can I get rid of him? That will make you crazy. That will stress you out. And honestly, medication does work. It does help. Having fun, going out, being with friends, this and that, anything that can distract you, keeping busy, things like that does help. The voices, they're not there all day. When you're taking your medication. If you don't take medication, they can be there all day, whether you want them to or not. But if you're taking medication, you can control it a lot more. You can, you can even like bypass it and take them away when you're on medication. It's just a little, I call it brain food. I call it just brain food. Like when my brain is tired and stuff, I'm like, oh, I just need my medication. I need my brain food. I look at it for my brain, because for when I'm tired and stuff like that. Other than that, for the voices and things like that, another thing you have to understand is that your thoughts aren't always your thoughts. Like sometimes you get a thought that's in your mind and you be like, oh, did I really just think that, or something like that. Your thoughts aren't always your thoughts. And and that's a little different feeling from when it's you actually hearing a voice. It's two different things. So pretty much when you have schizophrenia, your thoughts, you know what's your thoughts, and what's other, when you're hearing something, what's other people's thoughts. But it can all be jumbled. It can be mixed up. It can be confusing. I have like a whole list from like years ago that I was writing down, like just jotting down things like that I'll show you guys later on, about what the voices can do, what they can do, how they manipulate, how they can sound like your family, how they can sound like your friends, or this and that, da da da, or you don't know what it is. Maybe it is, that you're in tune with your family and friends. We honestly, every day is a new lesson. Every day I learn something new. Every day is just a new day to grow and just be more in tune with what I'm going through and everything like that, and just try to figure out how to raise awareness. That's just all I want to do. I want to raise awareness, and I want to be able to meet other people who go through the same thing that I go through, who who are beautiful, beautiful regular people, but we go through something that's so crazy, and that's hell. You understand? Like, it's not all beautiful. It is like a living hell. It is definitely living in hell. But like I said, life is beautiful, so you gotta take the good and the bad. You can't just dwell on everything like that. And another thing I want to say, people with schizophrenia are actually, really beautiful. I'm not talking about the people who hurt people and are murderers and things like that, and who say the voices did it and stuff like that. A lot of those people are liars. A lot of those people know that they can get away with stuff and this and that, da da da. A lot of them are really, really liars. And a lot of them who say that the voices made them do it and this and that, other people are actually really, really hurt and devastated and sad. You understand? So it's different. It's not like people with schizophrenia, they're all murderers and they're all this and they're all that and da 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 da. No, not exactly like that. Because if actually I'm somebody who don't even like to kill a roach. I don't like to kill bugs. I don't like to fight. I don't like none of that stuff. I don't like to get angry. I feel like it's bringing out the worst in me. Like, I don't like to be at my worst. I want to be my best. I want to be happy. I want to smile. I want to this and that. And that's just something we go through. What we want most importantly is to just be happy. Like, what I want most important is to be happy again. I don't want to live life worrying about everything that could possibly go wrong. And that's what having schizophrenia does for me. I worry about everything, like everything. Like, I even think about, God bless, my dad, and he's here and everything, but I think about, oh my God, in the future when he passes away, what am I going to do? How am I going to feel? I think about that. I think about, God bless everybody. Like, I think about things that people have went through and how would it feel if it was me going through that. And, it just hurts my soul, and it crushes me that, why does pain have to exist, and that's just something that I deal with, and me having schizophrenia doesn't make it easier. And me hearing voices doesn't make nothing easy. It's just something that I deal with personally, and that a lot of people deal with personally, but people are not able to share it, or are scared to talk about it and things like that, and I don't want to be somebody who's scared of that, to live like that anymore, because, to live like that, then you have to be scared of a lot of other things. You got to be scared. What I'm scared of mostly is somebody pretending that I'm crazy, that I went crazy, that I hurt myself, that I hurt somebody, that I did this, that I did that, pretending it and lying on my name and just making me seem like I'm something that I'm not. That's the only thing I swear that I'm scared about. Everything else, I know I got this, like, I'm good, I'm smart, I can handle this, I just need to take care of myself better, mentally, physically, emotionally. I just need to be better for myself. Everybody has to be better for themselves, and that's just what it is. And I started dealing with schizophrenia. I started dealing with it at 19, but a lot of other people, probably been dealing with it since they was a child, or like since they can remember. And even other people, like, now, even grown to this day, probably have no experience, nothing, and then out of the blue, boom, they're gonna have an experience and this and that. And that's just something that I want to raise awareness about, because I don't want people to be scared and petrified and this and that. Because when I was scared and petrified at 19 years old, I didn't have nobody to go to talk to or this and that. I had to try to figure it out about myself, without medication, without nothing. I thought the worst thing in the world. I thought that if I was to go to the hospital and get help or tell anybody or anything like that what was happening, that I was going to be locked away forever, locked in the hospital. Nobody was ever going to see me again, away from my family, and that's my fear. And that could be a lot of people's fear, that don't want to speak up or talk, and it's not like that at all. You have to going to the hospital, all you have to do is just go to the hospital, let them know, like, hey, I'm hearing things, this and that, da da da. They're gonna just monitor you for a little bit, just watch you. They're gonna talk to you, ask you questions. They have to make sure that you're safe. They have to make sure that you want to be safe. They have to make sure that you're fine. They're just gonna watch you, monitor you, this and that. If you need to get on medication, they're gonna maybe leave you there for a week, so be prepared for that. The worst thing to do is to go somewhere and not be prepared. You have to just be prepared. Just prepare yourself for anything. You're gonna be there for a week. Is not like the movies, guys. It's not hell. You're not wrapped up. You're not this, you're not that. It's like a house. You just go there, you're relaxing. They're monitoring your medication. When you're fine, they let you go. I actually had my own experience that's a little negative, because of the way everybody views schizophrenia. Caused me to have a negative experience in the hospital. I don't like hospitals, because I don't like to be isolated somewhere. I like to be able to go to the store when I want to. I like to be able to listen to my music whenever I want to. In the hospital, you can't really do that. They want you relaxed. They want you just want you relaxed. They don't want you doing anything. They don't want nothing interrupting or bothering you. They want you relaxed. So with me, I can't handle that. I need my music. I need this. I'm from the Bronx. I'm from. My mom has 7 kids. I'm from a chaotic family. I need a little chaos in my life. I need music. I need my son. I need somebody bothering me a little bit here and there. I can't just have complete peace. Like that. So that's my issue with going to. That's my own issue with going to the hospital. Well, yeah, guys. So I'm gonna wrap this video up a little bit. I kind of was, talking a little bit more than expected. I kind of wanted to get into some other stuff too, but I'll save that for another video. So yeah, guys, like, subscribe, comment down below if you know anybody who deal with schizophrenia, or if you deal with it yourself. Please, I would love to know your experience or anything like that. Just keep me posted. Keep updated with me. Follow me on Facebook if you like. I'll have everything in the description below. Just to see what it's like, someone living with schizophrenia. My name is Jessica. I go by Jessie X5 on Facebook. You can follow me there, and just see that I'm just a regular normal person who hear voices. And it's it's not the end of the world. It's actually a miraculous, extraordinary thing if you think about it. That's how I like to think about it, and that's just it. Thanks for watching. So one thing that you guys don't know about me is that I have like the best of both worlds when it comes to my families. I have my mom's side that can be a little ratchet and fun, and everything is spicy and this and that. And then I have my Gali family, and on my dad's side, who's like my Gali family, who are pastors, priests, teachers and things like that, and entrepreneurs and all this and that. So I have like the best of both worlds when it comes to my families. Both of them are money go-getters. So I know me, myself, and I'm supposed to be rich one day. So I think that's just a part of why I go through everything that I go through, and why I'm like a spiritual being that I am. That's what I like to call myself, a spiritual being. I'm not gonna consider myself schizophrenic and all this and that, because So like I said, guys, thanks for watching. I know it was a lot to take in. I know it was a lot for me to even share with you guys. This is something new for me. I'm new to YouTube. I'm new to, well, I have Facebook forever, but I'm new to sharing my story, and sharing my life with people, because this is something, I'm sure is not going to stop. It's going to continue on for the rest of my life. So let's see where this power brings. Let's see what let's see what beauty comes out of this, okay? Because that's all I'm looking forward to, just seeing the positive aspect of this, because I know there's nothing gonna come negative out of me having schizophrenia. I'm a positive person, maybe my emotional, everybody gets emotional, everybody has feelings, some people get angry, this and that. I'm not saying I'm never gonna get angry, but it won't be due to my schizophrenia or the voices. It won't be due to anything that's meant to make people feel crazy, I guess.